how's everybody doing today?
Hungry.
Good? Hungry? You came to the right speech. So raise your hand if you've ever been to a party. Any kind of party? Yeah? Alright, everyone. Alright. The latest party favorite right now is chips and salsa. Everybody loves chips and salsa. In Texas, it's become really popular. According to mobilecuisine.com, it's actually just recently been named the official state snack of Texas. People continue to buy chips and salsa all across the country, and it's just a huge party favorite right now. So how do you make that combination better? You make it at home. Today for you, I have a perfect homemade chips and salsa recipe that is guaranteed to be a party favorite. Everybody will love it. So let's get into that. Before I get into the recipe, I would like to go over the history of salsa over time. For me, I really appreciate a food more when I understand the history behind it. It really just lets me to enjoy it more. So according to mobilecuisine.com, we can actually trace the history of salsa and its origin back to the Aztec people. It's a very old snack. It's been around for a very long time. Mentofloss.com tells us that we actually make salsa very similar to how the Aztecs made it, buying the same ingredients as detailed in the Florentine Codex as kept by Spanish missionaries back in that time. The Aztecs would take different chilies and tomatoes and different spices and combine them to create the snack that we all know and love today. Over time, cultures have introduced new spins and variations on the classic snack. The best variations, according to MexicanFoodJournal.com, come out of Mexico, of course. These are variations like pico de gallo, habanero salsa, guacamole and other avocado salsas, salsa verde. There's many variations out there, all of them very delicious. So let's get into the actual recipe part of this. So the first thing that we want to add to this recipe is 1/2 a chopped onion, okay, and the next thing we want to add is 1 chopped jalapeno, alright, and then we want to add 1/3 of a cup of chopped cilantro, alright, and then we want to add 1 tablespoon of fresh garlic, smells good, right?
Nice.
Yeah. All that out of there. Very nice. Alright. And then you want to pulse it until fine. Alright, so now that you pulse that, next you want to add a 1 14.5 ounce of petite diced tomatoes.
Looks delicious.
Coming along nicely. Yes, ma'am. Alright. And then next, we want to add a teaspoon of salt. And then we want to add a teaspoon of cumin. So many smells. Alright, and then we want to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then we are going to pulse again. Alrighty. We're almost there. Alright, now we want to cut a lime Careful with your knives. There we go. Alright, so you want to squeeze the juice from both halves into the mixture. Alright. And then lastly, we want to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Alright. And then just 2 quick pulses to finish it. As for a recommendation for chips, my favorite brand is On the Border Cantina style. They're good with any variation you make. Unfortunately, I don't have those today, but that's what I would recommend. So you would just pour your salsa into a serving bowl. Spill a little there. Nothing wrong with a little mess in the kitchen though. Alright, so your salsa is served with your chips, hopefully before your guests arrived. With this recipe, I would definitely recommend taking a few dips before your audience arrives because, of course, it won't last very long. Let's give it a try. Of course, good as usual. Thanks for listening. I hope this recipe is a party pleaser for you for all your future parties. I hope that you really enjoy it and love it for years to come. If you have any questions, I'll answer those now. Oh.
Can you substitute fresh tomatoes for canned tomatoes?
You can, but the canned tomatoes, the juices in the can create a really good oily flavor. But you can you can substitute fresh, but the can is what's called for this recipe, and it just works better in this recipe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you use green tomatoes instead?
Yeah.
Is that how it gets to be salsa verde?
Yeah, salsa verde. Verde meaning green. Yeah, and then you can also use avocados. You make guacamole and avocado kind of salsas. There's a lot of great salsas out there. This is just one of many great recipes out there.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions? No? Oh?
Could you make it spicier?
Oh yeah, you can make it spicier. You can add red pepper flakes. You can put in more jalapeno, chili powder. You know, different kind of spices that you can add in there to just give it some more kick. It's really up to, you know, how much spice you like, but most people like a mild, kind of in the middle, because it pleases a bigger crowd. So, is there any other questions? No, that's all. Well, thank you all for coming and listening today. I appreciate you coming in and listening, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you'd like to
Can
try
we
it.
try it?
Oh yeah, come
Can
on
we come
up.
up and try
Oh
it?
yeah, come on up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mmm. Mmm.